start us off a little bit about practice the last couple weeks, and after watching the film from last night's exhibition game, what you think heading forward?
Well, you know, the past couple weeks of practice have been pretty good. Guys have been really receptive to the learning, picking up concepts that just helps us be a better team. Defensively, I think that's been our biggest emphasis, really making sure that we're a lot better defensively than we were a year ago, making sure that we're putting forth the effort, putting forth the concentration, working towards our principles on getting better on every possession defensively. Offensively, you know, we're trying to get up and down a little bit more, obviously running off of stops, trying to get out in transition and get some early opportunities in the first 7-8 seconds of the shot clock, trying to make sure that we're really aggressive and really putting pressure on the defense. Last night's game, first exhibition game against Chicago, I thought was you know, I'd give it a C overall. I thought defensively we did some good things. I'd like to see us do a little bit better on offense, being patient, working the ball, maybe getting some more opportunities in the low post, searching out some shots out of the post, out to the perimeter, and being a little more patient. But overall, I give it a C because I thought we had just a really tough time offensively in the second half, and our defense kind of, you know, took a couple of steps in the wrong direction as far as intensity and paying attention to details and stuff like that. So, but I know we got room for improvement. We threw a lot of bodies out there, a lot of guys playing different combinations that hadn't really seen a lot of reps as a group in previous practices. But overall, not too bad, but obviously a lot of room for growth.
Questions for Coach?
As a second-year head coach, what have you learned from your first year here?
Well, I learned that you know, you got to be patient in the process. Once you put forth your plan, you got to stay with your plan. Make sure that everyone is all on the same page, and stay towards the work at hand. You know, every day there's a step towards the ultimate goal. But I think our plan is solid. I think we're all bought into what it means to be a UIC product, both as a coach and as a player, and really trying to get this thing going in the right direction. It's going to take a little time, but we're very excited about the process, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Howard, how nice was it to have all you guys on campus all summer? Just how much did that help you hit the ground running last night?
Yeah, that was big. And obviously getting here and the first day of school last year, you know, we didn't have that opportunity. But you know what, having the opportunity this summer, it was great because what it does is it establishes your leadership right away. Because obviously as coaches, we can't get in there and we can't coach, we can't watch over playing sessions and open gyms, but it allows your leaders to emerge, for the new voices on the team as far as leadership is concerned, to really step forward and put their presence in place. And I think that's good. The work ethic is established. The way we do things as a program and as players is really much established in the summer. So it's really big for us. And obviously the biggest thing is getting some credits towards graduation. You know, and the freshmen were able to get in 6 credits. That's going to be geared towards their graduation in the future, and that's invaluable. So the summer was very productive for us.
Coach, you guys were busy in the off-season with recruiting. You guys brought in 9 new players. Could you, talk about those players a little bit?
Yeah, well, you start off with the local kids, the kids from the public league. We got Greg Travis from Curie High School, 4-year starter at Curie, playing a point guard position. I think he's going to make an immediate impact on the team. Amon Fels from Simeon, a kid that came off the bench for a state championship team, but is going to get some minutes here at the Division I level, and I think he's got a great future ahead of him. Rob Robinson, who was also a Simeon product by way of St. John's Military, did a year post-grad up in right near Milwaukee, up in Wisconsin. Rob's going to have a chance to get in there and get some things done. We went out to Morgan Park and got Jerome Brown, who I think is a tremendous shooter. And as he gets the defensive principles and all those things together, I think he's going to be a pretty good player in the future. We got Sam Sutter, a young man from South Elgin, who's been a tremendous walk-on. Will Simonton, a 6'10" kid from Virginia, who I think is going to contribute this year as much as you like to see a freshman post player contribute. With Darren and Paris and Hayden and those guys, Dorian Tyler, it's going to be interesting to see how he vies for minutes in that crowded front court situation. But if he's willing, I think, to be patient and learn, I think he can find his opportunities. So, with that group, there's a lot of promise. Mark Brown, obviously, is the young man that's from Dallas, Texas. Mark has a 6'4", nice strong build, college-ready body, and a very good basketball IQ. Mark's going to be in the mix as well. So with that group of 7 young men, I think we got a lot of good things going. They're all in different stages of their development, different stages of readiness for college. But it's a promising group nonetheless, and I think we're really excited about that.
You talk a little bit about Darren and Parrish. Talk about the importance of those guys developing a rapport on the court and being leaders this year.
Well, they're roommates, so that helps them with their camaraderie off the court. But at the same time, they're good kids. They're young men that, when we were talking about our returning players, were at the forefront of that situation as far as being guys that we were going to have to rely on right away. Guys that we knew had to be the anchors for our post defense and our post offense. Having an idea of what I expect from our players and the expectations of the program. So, having those guys coming back, having a year under their belt at the Division I level as opposed to the 2-year level, and also playing for us. They have a good feel for what I expect. They know the urgency of getting this thing turned around, and they're going to be big parts of what we're trying to do.
Other questions?
You talked about your defensive tone you've been trying to set the season. Based on last night's performance, what do you feel you need to work on in practice?
Well, Jeff, it's a lot of different things. It's closeouts, it's footwork, it's being able to be a good help defender, anticipation, being alert away from the ball as well as on the ball. There's a lot of team concepts that we're really trying to harp on a daily basis. How we defend on the ball with our hands and really trying to get deflections and get loose balls and steals, taking charges. All of those things come to place when you're locked into a team defensive mentality. If my teammate gets beat on a drive, I'm willing to help, and then I've got help for the helper. A lot of our principles are based on playing 5 versus 3 defense. So in other words, shrinking the floor and making sure that we're guarding 5 guys, but we're guarding 3 on the ball side and leaving the furthest guys away unguarded to make sure that we're covering the ball. So it's a different concept. You can say it's almost like a zone situation, but it really is a strong man-to-man principle. I mean, Coach Knight taught it at Indiana. Obviously, Bo Ryan taught it at Wisconsin, and we're trying to implement some of those same principles here at UIC.
Talk a little bit about the non-conference schedule. Obviously got some challenging road games and then some comparable games against MAC and Valley teams, and how that's going to stack up heading into December and January.
Sure. Starting off first game of the year at an Eastern Michigan team that brings back, kind of like in the same mode we're in, bring back some veteran frontline guys, but also have some guard play that's pretty solid and pretty experienced. So we're going to have our hands full going into Ypsilanti. It's a program that's like us, have had some change and trying to establish an identity. They've got a program where Rob Murphy is trying to implement some of the things that they had at Syracuse, where they really relied on their zone defense to really confuse people and run some good offense to get their shooters some looks and touch it inside to get some post players some action there. But it's a good game to start with. I think it'll really challenge us. We come back home with a couple of non-Division I's, but it'll really get us ready for guarding different actions that we'll see throughout the year. We'll get a feisty Roosevelt team and a well-coached Quincy team when we return to the pavilion. So that'll really get us ready and get us prepared to get ready for Northern Illinois, who's going to be in a situation of rebuild, but also they'll be strong and they'll be ready to go with Coach Montgomery leading them. Having a situation of going back to Toledo. Coach Kowalczyk, also in his second year, is going to have a chance to, ramp up their roster, and they've got some guys that were sitting out last year that will be pretty strong, and it will give them a chance to move up in the MAC conference. Central Michigan, Oregon State. I mean, it's a good, schedule. Evansville at home, good schedule that's going to really challenge a young team that's trying to find its identity and trying to find its niche.
you and I have talked a little bit about how there's going to be some parity in the league this year too. But what are your impressions of the Horizon League heading into this whole thing?
I think it's going to be a great season. You know, everyone's talking about Butler and Detroit. Can Detroit knock Butler off the top of the league? Will Cleveland State still be strong? I think Robbie's team in Milwaukee is going to be an unbelievable team. They've got Kalen Williams back and some really good pieces. Our league is great. I think after that top four, everything is really up for grabs. And for us to get out of the basement of the league is a priority. You want to make sure that you're starting to pass some people as you get into the years. And in our second year, obviously the goal is to get out of 10th place or 9th place and start moving towards that top half of the conference. But it's going to be a great league. It's going to be a great season. The coaching is tremendous. I think the players are underrated, and there's going to be some really good guys. We had some guys leave from graduation and some early entries to the NBA, but I think at the same time, the guys that were playing with them that were the complementary players are now going to step up into new roles, and I think the conference is going to continue to be strong, and there should be some good things going on this season. We just want to be in the mix, and we want to just do our part to really show this conference is where it needs to be.
Does Butler seem more beatable this year?
Well, I mean, obviously, Northern State had a good game against them. They did some good things. Obviously, I haven't seen the film, but to hold Butler to 50 points is pretty good. I don't know if that's more so of what Northern State did or disrupted them with, or if it's just, the early games or the early situation for Butler just trying to find their new identity without some key guys. We scored 61 points against Chicago, and I was a little disappointed. Not in the fact that I'm looking at the final score, but just in the drought that we had in the middle of the second half. I'm sure Brad isn't too happy about, their showing and coming up on the right-hand side of the score. You want to be efficient that way. But it's early. That's why we do the exhibition games. It won't count against their record, and obviously we don't get the win that count for our record from last night. But that's why you do these things. That's why you play the exhibition games. Some people prefer to go the scrimmage route and do the closed-door scrimmages. We tried that last year. I thought it was more beneficial for a young team to do a true game-like situation and to have our guys get out there, lights on, cameras, action, let's go. And really get ourselves in the mold and in the preparation of a true game day. So, we'll see what happens. And we got one more, fortunately. We can clean up some things. We got a lot of teaching clips to show the guys today, and hopefully we can learn from them and get better when we get out on the court.